If you guys have been following my videos, then chances are you've heard me mention a few times by now something called the direct path, which is a non-dual Advaita Vedantic teaching that gives us direct insight into the very nature of ourselves. And through discovering ourselves, subsequently, we discover the nature of reality. So here in this video, I hope to bring you guys a kind of a breakdown so you can get a clearer picture of what exactly this teaching is. Now, to get started, the direct path is it's a method, a teaching, or an investigation into the nature of ourselves. And when I say ourselves, I'm not speaking about a body and a mind that we may feel ourselves to be. But in fact, I'm speaking of something that you've probably heard many times in spiritual and non-dual circles, and that is that we are consciousness, awareness, and even in religious language, we can say God. You see, everybody knows themselves, but they don't know themselves clearly. And this teaching or investigation allows us to discover who we are experientially. When we discover something through experience, we cannot deny whatever it is that we experienced. On the other hand, if we learn something conceptually, which is majority of our knowledge, then we can't be absolutely certain that it's true. For example, when we look outside, we see a tree. We say, I know that that's a tree. But how do we know that that is a tree? Has the tree ever once said that it is a tree? So in fact, we don't know that it is a tree. We believe that it is a tree. This is just a knowledge that somebody has created, a concept that somebody has created to communicate with somebody else. It's a labeling through the mind. And we pass down this information from our peers, our parents, and we learn it in books and online. But then we believe in this conceptual knowing. The beauty of the direct path is that it's not conceptual. It's 100% experiential, which means you can experience your true essence. And when we do that, we don't doubt or think that we know it. We know with absolute certainty who or what we exactly are. So this investigation is the only way I know of to approach our true essence through direct experience. There are other means and methods, so to speak, that allow us to explore our true essence. But this was the path that I took, and this is the path that I teach. So also, I want to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of how this method works. So you have 3 stages of realization. In the first stage, we discard everything that we are not to finally reveal exactly what we are. And this prelude is what we call the neti-neti process. We discard the body and the mind and leave this pure essence of awareness. We find out that everything appears to this awareness, that we are the observer of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, that we aren't actually those things. Now, we have the second stage of realization, and this is discovering the nature of that awareness. So, through experience, we find out that not only everything appears to us, but everything appears within us. That this awareness or consciousness that we are is not limited in nature, that it is eternally present and the very source of peace, love, and happiness. So we go from everything appears to consciousness, then everything appears within consciousness. Then we have the final stage of realization, where we now need to collapse duality. In the first two stages, we have awareness plus objects. So we're still in kind of a duality. We can call it enlightened duality. So we need to break down this distinction between the subject and the object. So we explore the nature of reality. By doing so, we find out that what we essentially are is also the nature of reality. So everything appears to consciousness, everything appears within consciousness, and everything is made of consciousness. There is no more duality. We have collapsed our traditional and conventional ways of looking at ourselves in reality and are left with the pure, undifferentiated I of pure knowing. All there is to know is the knowing of experience. And you are that knowing. So, who is the direct path for? And I would suggest that really the direct path is for anybody. But there's two main avenues from which I would say that most people are going through this investigation. And one, that would be those who are seeking truth and understanding, either about themselves or about reality. Or two, those that are seeking peace, love, and happiness, which I would suggest is everybody in our world. Because if we don't know who we are, then the ego or the separate self is constantly going out into the world trying to find this peace and happiness in one way, shape, or another. So to put an end to seeking and confusion, we have to take this investigation. And by doing so, the truth is found and peace and happiness is discovered as the very source of who we actually are. Now, the implications of taking the direct path is honestly endless, but it happens to serve us on an individual basis. Like I previously mentioned, for those who are seeking truth and understanding, we find exactly that. The search ends with the discovery of our true essence. All mysteries and all paradoxes are resolved, including this topic of non-doership, which the rational mind will very much argue with until presented with experience. Now, on the other hand, those who are seeking this peace and happiness, We no longer have to go out into the world seeking this peace and happiness through substances, relationships, activities, and even states of mind. We don't feel like we need anything. And if we want something, then it comes from a impersonal desire. We're no longer searching for these things to become fulfilled and complete. We we go out for these things to share and express the peace and happiness that is already innate in our true essence. So the implications are not only discovering truth and understanding, but discovering that you are the very source of this peace and happiness. And as always, if any of this sounds interesting to you and you want to explore the direct path, this is something that I actually teach and guide others through. And I would love to go into greater detail with you either on Instagram or through a one-on-one conference, which if you go down in the description below, you can find a link to my You Can Book Me, where we can have a 40-minute call and talk about these things. So reach out to me if this sounds like something that you're interested in taking, and I would be more than happy to walk you home to your true essence. With that being said, remember to keep your heart open and stay present. I'll see you in the next one.